Namaste everyone, welcome to the 31st session on Taittareeya Upanishad. During the session we will shut down the chat and hand raising, and that will be open after the session, after Binduji has completed his presentation. And a note of reminder, all the replays for these 30 sessions which we have gone through in Taittareeya and the previous Advaita talks are all available as replays in Clubhouse, or if you go to Advaita Retold YouTube channel, we'll post that in the chat as well, and that's also going to be available. And please come up and ask questions after the session. Over to you, Binduji.
Let me just add a couple things here. I'll do this again at the end as well. I'll do part of it at the end. I just thought I'd take a moment and again remind, looking at who's here, there might be a person or two here, even including myself, the regulars, to remember why we post the link above and why there's also another link in the chat. Because Bindu, is going on his own deep learning that goes way beyond what's really standard, but it helps us to look and reference to what's being spoken to, at least in some simple manner. So the idea of the one of the volumes in the chat is because this particular chapter 2 has a lot of depth and has a rather long commentary, that we can read and study parts of that ahead if we want, so that we can take the information in. So chapter 2 starts on page 301, and then also above, just to realize that Binduji goes through the mantras for each Upanishad and doesn't just simply grab some certain specific English translation for them. He looks around at a diversity of those translations just for the mantras and finds things that he finds are suitable, or makes his interpretation there. And to just remember, historically what role those mantras could play. Similar to this happened in Greece as well with early poetry, the idea that there could be short sections of narrative that would then trigger in our mind the deeper teachings, and hence the value of, memorizing mantras and so forth. So I just wanted to remind us of that in the day and age when we tend to memorize nothing and forget everything. The thing that I'll mention again at the end is that we're coming up on time change, and different parts of the world change time, some don't, and some even do it on slightly different weekends twice a year. And Clubhouse's algorithm for correcting differences in time changes on the calendar seems to fail for a couple weeks around time change. So I think we're safe now because Prakash took over setting the time on the calendar, but we may not be. So you may see the Sunday room and at not what seems like the right time on your calendar, but just know that Clubhouse may be wrong, and it will be at 8:30 p.m. IST. So it won't change time. If you're changing time, then the time that this room occurs will change for you. This happens for me. And lastly, if you're looking for the Sunday room, that it was being called Q&A, and now it's being called open discussion. That is the same time slot on Sunday. But we're going to look for our ability to continue to have as much decorum and respect and so forth of each other and Binduji in that room, but to have to see if we can find our way to having discussions where we can build upon each other's thoughts and continue to, at the center of that, be seeking Binduji's perspective, but continue to sort out our own mind, maybe in a deeper way in that room. So that's the idea, and we'll all be having to learn together on how to do that. So I wanted to mention that, and Binduji can say more about that on Sunday when we meet. A little bit long, but I think it's important to remember our own roles, including, for instance, looking through the mantras and so forth. So thank you. Binduji, please go ahead. We're very happy to be here.
Thank you, Prakash. Thank you, Atmisha. Welcome all. Happy again. to be available for you all to listen to the continuation of Taittareeya Upanishad, explanation of second chapter, 7th subsection. I am purposely taking more time on Taittareeya Upanishad because Taittareeya Upanishad commentary by Shankaracharya is exhaustive and brings in clarity from the Advaita perspective, and no words minced by him in getting us the intended meaning of the Upanishad as per Advaita. I'm not telling that is the only intended meaning. There have been others who have commented upon according to their, way of looking at their philosophy. But we are in no contradiction with them because they are all from their own perspective. But I am being an Advaitin and believe that Advaita has the answer for all the questions which I have been looking in my life. So I am wedded to Advaita and I'll remain wedded to Advaita till my last breath. The commentary per se itself is so exhaustive that even if I have to do this again, I'll be bringing a different narration or explanation, not deviating from the core principle, but bringing in maybe more examples or more clarity into the explanation. Because each time I listen, each time I read, each time I think about it, I am able to see new, means to explain the reality, what is being conveyed in the commentaries. So it is mandatory that each one of you listen to the recordings as many times as possible so that the idea is not to learn this as a philosophy or a textual book. Here is one philosophy which is talking about the listener himself. This aspect of the Upanishad addressing us, the word Atma which is used, is for our own self. So all the time when the word Atma is being uttered, the Upanishad is touching your heart and telling, look there, not as a idea or a philosophy or a notion or something which has to be observed externally for analysis or even, bringing intellectual jugglery into the words. No. Dive deep within our own bosom and feel the words coming live. That is what is called the word Swamshikaranam in Sanskrit means. Swamshikaranam means making what you listen as your own. You are talking to yourself. I am not talking to you. I am explaining the words of the Upanishad and the commentary of Shankaracharya. But actually speaking, it is the Upanishad which is talking to you directly. So make it mandatory that this as a dialogue between you and yourself, your mind and your Atma, or your Atma and your mind, whichever way you want to take it. So be immersive, esoteric, and not look at it as a philosophy. It is not a philosophy, it is about ourselves. Having said that, I'll enter into today's session with my usual mantras of prayer for myself, invoking my gurus, and then the Shanti mantra of the Upanishad. Then I'll get into the explanation. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vamsha Rishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti Murtiveda Vivagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. The Shanti Mantram for this section is Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunattu Sahavidyam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Seventh Anuvaka or the seventh subsection goes like this. Asanneva savavati asad brahmedi veda chet asti brahmedi chet veda santamenam tado viduriti tasyeva sharira atma yah purvasya athadho nuprasna uda vidvanamum lokam pretya kaschana gacchati aho ama vidwan amum lokam pretya kaschit samasnuta Soma kamayata buhusyam prajayeti tatavo tapyata statapattattva idam sarvamadrasya ididam kinja tat srishtva tadeva anupravisya satyatyacha bhavat niruktam cha nilayanam cha vijnanam cha satyam cha nratam satyam abhavat yadidam kinja tat tatyamittya chakshate. Iti sloko bhavati. This is the sixth one and the seventh one, sorry, I mixed up. Asadva idamagra asit tato vai sadajayata tadatmanam swayam akrutaha tasmat sat sukritam uchyate iti. Yadvai tat sukritam raso vai saha rasam hi eva ayam labdva anandi bhavati. Ko hi anva pranyat yadesha akasha anando nasyat Esha hi eva anandayati. Yada hi eva esha etasmin adrisye anatme anirupte anilayane abhayam pradishtam vindate atha tasya bhayam bhavati gato bhavati. Yada hi evesha etasmin udaramandaram kurute atha tasya bhayam bhavati. Tatveva bhayam vidusho manvanasya tadapyesha shloko bhavati. Iti Saptam Anuvak. This is the seventh Anuvak. So in the seventh Anuvak, we saw that Asadva idam agra asit. The Asat here is not non-existence. Here the Asat is Vyakruta Nama Vishesha Rupa Viparitam. Means Vyakruta means manifest. Nama Rupa Vishesha in the form of name, form and qualifying. Viparita Rupa means opposite to that, means Avyakritam. Therefore, Avyakritam Brahma Uchyate. That means, and for the purpose of explaining again so that you should understand this very clearly. When it is said that Avyakritam Brahma, we should understand that the state of where the names, forms and the qualifications of the world of objects, whether it is the waking world or the dream world, they are not available for consumption or experience or perception. It doesn't mean they are absent, or it doesn't mean that they are non-existent. It is only saying that the names have not been manifest. So when we say that Vyakritam Brahma means when we experience our waking and the world of waking, the dream and the dream world, we call it as manifest world of experiences. Don't look into the nature of the objects or the nature of the experiencer in these things. Everything is included in it. They are all in the form of names and forms. Without name and form and adjectives or qualifications of them, there is no experience of any sort at all. A state where there is no experience of this multiplicity when it is not there, that state is called the state of Brahman or Atman. And in our experience, the state equivalent to that is our deep sleep. And I know a lot of people have got confusion about the deep sleep. This need to be clarified here. Deep sleep is a definition in comparison with our waking world and dream world. The deep sleep world is a relative or a comparative experience explained and narrated by the waking world or the waker himself. But if you look at personalized experience-wise, as what is it to you or what is your experience of the deep sleep? It is not the waking world and the waker in the waking world where you have a name, form and your identity as an individual, the ego, mind, intellect, the body, mind, complex, etc. Definitely there is the second one, which is the dream world. There is the experiencer. You may not have a name, you may have a name, you may have a body, you may not have a body. You have a world of experiences. When the world is being experienced as a dream world, we cannot call it as a dream from the world of the experiencer inside the dream world. For the time of the duration of the dream, the experiencer of the dream is real to the dream world. The experiences of the world of the dream, the objects and their respective experiences are also real as how it is to a waker and the waking world. But when we come to the waker and he remembers the dream as his dream, actually it is not his dream, but he presumes it is he who has been dreaming it because he has some memory of some of the dreams. So when he has memory, he assumes that he is the one who was in the dream or as a dreamer and the dream world experience. Even when you look at the waking world is nothing but a bundle of memories. What we call it as in the space and time of location or past, present and future. The experiences which has been gone through becomes memory for us to say this is the world of waking. So he includes the memory of the dream also as part of the past, present and future continuum to explain the absence from the waking as a dream. The same acts, the same thing is being done by the waker when he knows that he had no experience, but he was not in the dream and he is obviously not in the waking. So he calls that as a deep sleep from his experience. But if you look from the individual experiencer, in the dream, the waker is not present. The waking world is not present as it is for the waker. Some aspects of names and experiences along with some imagination or projections of a different time and causation is experienced as a dreamer, and it has nothing to do with the waker. The reason being that this being both witnessed or experienced by the same consciousness reflected in the mind or the antakarana, we will say that, is the reason why some of the what you call impressions of the waking are seen in the dream. Because the tool or the experience of the dream, the creation of the dream world, is not tangible like the waker's world, and it is more or like a soft, intangible, yet experiential in nature from the point of view of comparison between the dream and the waking. And this happening, we think it is happening in the mind. But actually speaking, both waking and the dream are happening only in the same location, which is called the antakarana or the inner instrument. If the inner instrument is absent, either we are given a sedation by anesthesia, or we are swooned or we have got a knock on our head, or we lose memory like Alzheimer's or any of those things. That the problem is that the experiences change totally. There will be either lack of experience, or there will be hallucination, or there may not be any memory of the past events or the present events, depending upon why it is getting affected. But for a normal human being who's not such things have happened, both the waking world and the dream world is not external. Both are projected external by the same antakarana, and all experiences are happening in the mind. The reason is that the inputs will come from the sources assumed to be present outside through the sense organs, and the mind or the antakarana is now the place where the experiences are taking place. So there is a projection for the consciousness or awareness to feel that the world is external. The subject who is experiencing the world is, even though part of the world, is separate as a subject, and in his mind, fed through the instruments of the perception, the objects from outside are experienced in the mind. The reason for this is that we think our mind is inside the body, the limitation of the body. The reality is that mind has no location. Even though the majority of the feelings, emotions and thoughts and the experiences are felt internally, they are not necessarily internal. The reason why we are feeling them as internal is because we identify with the physicality of the body. If we are enter into the physicality of the body, we can imagine even the taste or the sceneries which we have seen in the past, which is a different location from where you are currently located, and you can recall the experience and felt inside the mind. Now, if the object is external and what is that is coming as memory for recalling should necessarily have the object as an ingredient in the memory. That is the very reason in the dream also, in our mind, we are going at different places where while we are sleeping on our bed, we feel that we are physically going to different places, experiencing the world of dream in the different locality, maybe sitting and having a coffee with a friend or going out with your spouse or a girlfriend and having a sightseeing, or you may be having a car driving or maybe a car accident, whatever may be the experiences in that. Everything feels external at the time of dream, but we refuse to accept when it comes to the waking because of the over dependency of the sense organs and the mind, which we presume to be residing inside the physical body. The mind has no limitation. Mind is in the space. So the space is the limit for the mind. We can imagine even travel into the cosmos with our mind, or we can imagine about those things. That is the very reason why we are not able to pinpoint where the mind is, even though majority of our experiences happening because of the emotions, feelings and thought, we place our mind as inside. But when it comes to deep sleep, we have no anchorage, no location, no locus, no time span, no individuality, nothing which we can correlate as an experiencer of that gap which is not accountable by the waker. This state where this unmanifestation is present, but we are definitely not having any experience other than when we wake up, we say that we had a good sleep, I am feeling rejuvenated or I am feeling happy. I'll come to that aspect later. Why are we not having experience in our deep sleep? Is because, not because the mind is not there, or the individual is not there, or the world is not there, or the objects are not there. They are all in a state where there is no name, form and adjectives to identify them as separate experiences like how we have it in the waking or the dream. The best way Mandukya said about is that Bija Nidra, or the sleep as a seed for the waking and the dream. From the waking and the dream props up or sprouts for the experiences of the waking and the dream. Therefore, since this is an unmanifest shape, Upanishad here in the Taittareeya, 7th Varna, they call it as Avyakritam Brahma Uchyate. Therefore, what is Asat? Non-manifest, not the non-existent. It is unmanifest. The unmanifest is what is called the Brahma in this particular context. It is not Atyandam Asat. It is not absolute absence. Because if it had been absolute absence, nahi asataha sajjayati. From the absolute absence, nothing can come out. What comes out from an absolute absence will be only absolute absence. Therefore, what we call it as idam, the world, the jagat, is what? Nothing but nama rupa visheshavat. Vyakritam means manifest or appearing as the world in the form of name, form and adjectives. Before it becomes projected as the waking or the dream, agre purvam paraguchyate utpatte brahma eva asat sabja vacham asit. The same thing is what is called asat in this seventh subsection of the Taittareeya as the same Brahma as asat shabda vachyam. It is only a nomenclature, as asat means avyakritam is nothing but Brahma eva, is Brahma alone. Tataha asataha vai sat pravibhakta nama rupa vishesham ajayate utpannam. Therefore, it is the same Brahma which is in the form of Sat Yat Jnanam Anandam Brahma. That Brahma, in the unmanifest, from the deep sleep point of view, Pravibhaktam means well-defined by in the form of name, form and the qualifying natures of them, each of them, is what is called the world, whether it is waking or dream, is Utpannam, means is being projected. Utpannam means sprout or born. You cannot say it is born because it is not. The answer is given is that is it kim tada pravibhaktam karyamiti viduriva putraha. Is it like that father producing a child? Na iti aha. No, it is not that way. The father producing a child, the child is a product of not father alone. There are other ingredients to that for producing the child. Whereas when Brahman or from the Sushupti or from the deep sleep, when it projected the waker and the dream, it did not depend upon anything else. So, it is the same which is becoming the waker and the waking world and the experiences of the waker, the dreamer, the dream world and the experiences of the dreamer. Therefore, Swayam, by himself, he has now projected. That is why this is said as, this is the Swabhava or the nature of consciousness to project. And one who knows this projection as projection, he has no problem. But we do not know it is a projection. We assume that we are individuals. The world is separate from us. Our experiences are fed through the sense organs and experiences are happening inside our antakarana or inside the body. Same is the case with the dreamer. So therefore, when he creates all this thing by out of himself, as he is the consciousness, Satya Jnanam, and Anandam is infinite in nature. He produces everything in himself and all the infinitude which he is projecting for the multiple wakers, multiple worlds, multiple cosmos, multiple experiences, all these being multiple in he is Anandam or infinite in nature. And the nature in which he is projecting is through Jnanam or Chetana. Therefore, the Chaitanyam is the projection, is the consciousness which we are seeing as the world, as ourselves, as the dream world, as the dreamer. Everything is nothing but that. That is why it is called Swayamkrit or Sukritam. It is from the deep sleep as if the whole world of waking and dream has been projected. But this Swayamkrit or Sukritam is also prasiddham in the loke, in the world of transaction as what Brahma iti prasiddham. Because sarva karanatvat. It is the cause for everything. The mud pot, the cause is the lump of mud. The ornaments, the cause is the lump of gold. The multitude of water bodies are nothing but the mud, water. Same way, whatever is coming and being experienced as existence and awareness and infinitude in nature is nothing but Satyam, Jnanam and Anandam. And that is Brahma. Therefore, Sarvatmana. Sarvatmana means Sarvam. Everything is that Atma only. Atma or Brahman. That is why Tasmat Sarva Karanatvad Swayam Karoti. Iti Sarvam Swayam Karoti. One who creates everything or one who projects everything as himself, but using names and forms and adjectives for the purpose of transaction is the what? It is his nature. His nature is to go into the withdrawing everything, like etornanabi srijate, that example of the Mandukya, where the spider webs everything back into itself, or the webs of the white spider comes out of its own abdomen. Same way, this deep sleep Brahman, when I am saying deep sleep, a lot of people have got problem. Please understand, what is your experience? Please analyze your own experience. Is it not from deep sleep you are waking? When you are waking up, your waking world comes. Where was your I-ness and your mind and the world of experiences when you were in deep sleep? It was not there for you to experience. When you are waking up, you are projecting them, and even the third person who is coming and telling you is a projection in your waking. He is not independently separate from the deep sleeper who has projected even the third party. Same is the case in the dream. The entire objects coming in the dream is projection of the same Atma or Brahman. But we are not ready to accept it because we are looking from the waker's point of view. You have to assume the role of the deep sleeper who has the potency of infinite potency to project everything yourself. You are the Brahman. You are the one who is projecting. You became the waker. You became the dreamer. You created the world of waking for yourself to enjoy. You created the dream world for yourself to enjoy. Enjoy means enjoy and sorrow, both. It is not that enjoyment alone. The experiencing for your own experience. That is why Tasmat Punya Rupena Api Tadeva Brahma Karanam Sugurdam Uchyate. On the Punya means Punya and Papa you have to take. The happiness and the sorrow coming out of the activities which are, that is why it is called Brahma Eva Karanam. The Karanam, the cause for it is Brahma only. Now, this reason why Nitya Chetana Karane Sati Upapadyate Tasmat Brahma Tabmat Brahma Asti Sukrata Prasiddhariti. Only a conscious being or an intelligent being has the potency to be eternally present when he is withdrawing, when it is withdrawing everything into himself, and when he projects everything for his own experiences. He is through and through everything. He has not abandoned anything which is thing. Atmana Akasha Sambhuda Akashad Vayu Vayor Agni, all those things which we have studied in our earlier subsections should be remembered here. Nothing is outside Atma or Brahman. Therefore, Brahma is the one Chetana Karanam Sati. Because it has, the word Sati is, because it is Chetana Karane, because it is the cause for the consciousness to project, Upapadyate, to project or to create or to assume the roles of names and forms. Therefore, Asti Brahma. And because Brahma is there, not as when it was in the withdrawn state into deep sleep, or when it is projected in every atom or every iota, every molecule, every nanomolecule, or whatever may be the shape you can think, the word asti or existence and the chetana, because of which we are able to know it, that knowledge is embedded in everything. And the infinitude is because all of them are inside that knowledge, that one knowledge which is encompassing everything. Yet jnatva sarvamidam vijnatam bhavati, the Mandukya Upanishad. So what is that nature of this Brahman when it is in the deep sleep? That question can come. We are not able to experience anything in the deep sleep. When we are not able to experience anything in the deep sleep, we call it as non-existent, or we do not know. Some people call it as ignorance, avidya, maya. All sorts of explanations are given for, because they are explaining different perspective or different aspect. But from the seventh Anuvak of the Taittareeya, from that point of view, it is nothing but the essence itself. All the essence of the world of waking, all the essence of the dream world, everything is now codified and consolidated as pure essence in the deep sleep, but there is no separation for an experiencer to experience that, because even the experiencer has been codified and consolidated into it. So there is no separate experiencer to experience it. Therefore, raso vaisaha. It is in the form of essence. And when you are in your essence, you cannot taste it yourself. You don't have a taste of your tongue, because your tongue is the one which is tasting it. You don't see your eyes, because your eyes is the one which is seeing it. You cannot hear your ears, because it doesn't produce sound, but it is the one which is listening the sound. The index finger cannot touch itself, even though we can touch anything with the index finger. It is always in touch. The tongue is always in taste with it. The eyes are always seeing itself, without which the eyes will not be able to see. Same way, we are always in the essence, in our own essence of Satya, Jnanam, Anandam, or Anandam here. Here Rasam means Anandam or bliss. But we cannot call it as an Anandam, because we call Anandam as something external to us, brought in by objects. This happiness which we are familiar is only when there is an object and there is a subject who is experiencing that object. This dichotomy is the default fault in us when we are said that bliss is our nature, or rasam is our nature, or our nature is pure ananda. We are not able to know it because we have this fault line in us that ananda is something which we should be enjoying it. How can you enjoy it? Because you are that. Can you taste yourself? Can you experience yourself? So, therefore, it is this which is called the ananda of the Brahman. Na asadaha ananda hedutvam drishtam loke. If it is in the form of asataha, asat, unmanifest, in the world, whatever we have seen as a cause for ananda is because of a satvastu or which a object which has got name and form or a qualification. An object which doesn't have a name, form or qualification, which is called the asat or avyakritam, is not seen in the world as ananda hetu or a cause where you can see the ananda. Therefore, bahyananda sadhana rahita api aniha nireshana brahmanaha bahya rasa labha iva sananda drishyade vidvamsaha. This is a very important line. Please remember it. Bahya ananda sadhana rahita api. Even though there is no need or no dependency for external names and forms of adjectives or qualifications for ananda, for the happiness, aniha, iha means prayatna or effort. Aniha means without effort. Nireshana means without desire. So, persons who have no desire and who are not putting any effort, without any dependency on the world of objects outside, external to himself, sananda drishyate, he seems to be reveling in happiness, or he seems to be in self-absorption or a happiness in himself. Sukhi bhavati. He looks as if he has attained the happiness. Who? Brahmana, one who has known the Brahman, is what Vidvamsa, those who have realized this, who have known the nature of Brahman and who have known the Jnanis, they say that Nyunam Brahmaiva Rasa Tesham. Indeed, Nyunam means indeed, Brahma Eva Rasa Tesham. The only happiness which they are in, they are seeing Brahman, they are hearing Brahman, they are touching Brahman, they are being Brahman, they themselves know they are Brahman. They do not see other than Brahman in thee, anything other than that. So they are seeing nothing but the happiness in themselves. They see themselves in everything. Tasmad asti tesham anandagaranam rasavad Brahma. So therefore, the only cause for their happiness or their nature of happiness is their own Swarupa, and that is the Swarupa which is that there in our deep sleep. When we wake up, we are so happy of our deep sleep. Sukham apsasam. I had a good sleep. I slept well. All these statements are coming by the waker, not because he has enjoyed the bliss. He remembers the absence of the world of objects which was torturing and tiring away his happiness by limited nature of the objects of the world outside. Here there was no time he was not in touch with happiness. There was no space where he was not in touch with happiness. All the time he was in happiness, yet he did not know he was in happiness. But he remembers, or cannot say he remembers. He has nothing to remember. Because he has nothing to remember, the only thing which the waker can remember is that absence of unhappiness of the waking, absence of the unhappiness of the dream. Therefore, there is happiness in the deep sleep. Itasya asti kutaha prananadi karya darshanat ayamapi hi pinda jivitaha pranena praniti apanena apaniti ayam vayaviyaha aindriyakascha cheshtaha samhitaihi karyakarana karyakarnaihi nirvrityamana drishyante. So these people, prananadi kriya darshanat, kriya adarsanat. even though the prananadi kriya, even though they do not experience adarsanam, experience in the deep sleep. Because prana and indriyas are the cause for our experiences in the waking. Because prana here means the mind. And indriya means the indriyas or the sense organs of perception are the cause for our happiness of the waking and the deep sleep. The dream. But they are adarsanat. They do not have that in the deep sleep. Ayamabi pintahi jivitaha. It is the same body which is jivitaha, which is living with the prana and the indriyas present in them. The body which is identifying by the waker to tell that I am enjoying the happiness is identifying with the same pinda, means same body, which is jivitaha. Pranena praniti, because the prana is working apanena apaniti. He knows the prana apana is going on in that body. Yet, when the prana apana is going on, he should have experienced it. But he didn't have any experience, but he had that state where his happinesses were not coming and going or not changing. Evam vayaviya, aindriyakascha. Same way for by the pranas and the indriyas. Cheshtaha samhataihi. They're here as if they have been functioning for the purpose of something else. The body, the prana and the indriyas. Karya karana nivrittamānaihi drishyate. There is no karya karana. There is no cause and effect seen in the deep sleep. But they continue to be operational in the pindam, in the sharira. But the experiences are not related to the indriyas or the sense organs or controlled by the prana or the mind, etc. Paschaikartha vrittyena samhananam na andarena chetana samhatam bhavati. Anyatra adarsanat. Anyatra adarsanat means in other aspects like the waking and the dream, we don't see what? Tatra aikartha vrittyena. For the purpose of one person, one entity, ekartha. Samhananam means bringing all them together. Na antarena, without any differentiation of the pranas operating in the body, like prana, apana, samana, jnana, udana. None of them are separate. Nor the indriyas which are present there. So chedanam asamhatam means some chaitanya is there in the body at that time, in the deep sleep. And samhatam means he is the one for which the entire body is functioning, but unable to differentiate between its own existence and the world of objects or the experiences of the, the sense organs and the mind and etc. in that body. And this is happening in the deep sleep alone. Na anyatra darsanat. Nowhere else it is seen. Because in the waking and the dream, you cannot see this. The prana and the sanskara are working and their happiness and everything is depending upon the objects. And they are all limited by space and time. Both in the dream and deep sleep. Here neither the space is there nor the time is there, but the functions are there, yet not able to function. That is the reason why it is called. Tadaha yad yadi esha akasha parame vyomni guhayam nihitaha anandaha na syat na bhavet kohya eka loke anyat apana cheshtam kuryat ityartaha. Yadi esha akasha parame vyomni. In this param vyomni, param space, the supreme space where the space limitation has not boundaries in the deep sleep. Guhayam nihidam anandaha. There is this body, apparent body, from the waker's point of view, where the ananda is being held, experienced. If that had been nasyat, na bhavet. If that was not there, kohi eva loke anyat. Who else can be present there in that jada, in that body, pinda? Or who can be present in that body which is now as if dead body, lying there, but cheshta is there. Apana cheshtan kuryad ityartha. But it is doing the signals of life by doing the prana, apana, etc. Kaha pranyat prananam va kuryat. Who else can be the one who is doing the prana there? Atma or Brahma. Tasmad asti tad Brahma. Therefore, all these things are existing for Brahma in the deep sleep in the body, as if the body is being maintained by the Brahma so that it can project the waker and the dream using the same sense organs and the same mind, prana and indriyas, etc. Tasmadasi Brahma. Tadartha yadartaha karya karana prananadi cheshtaha tat kritaha eva cha anando lokasya. What is the ananda which we are experiencing in the world outside, even though they are coming and going, is because karya karana prananadi cheshta. Because of the cause and effect which is now coming as the world of waking and world of dream, with the time, space and causation. That is why the karya karana pranadi cheshta. And cheshta means the same activity which was there in the deep sleep is continuing in the waking also, in the dream also. Therefore, that is the same entity which is there in the deep sleep, for whom it was being maintained, is present even in the waking, now projecting as the waker and the waking world, the dreamer as the dreamer world. Tat krita evacha anando lokasya. It is only this happiness which is there in the world of happiness also. But we are not able to see that as a Brahmananda or the Ananda of the Atma unless we see that Sarvatma Bhava or Sarvatmam, that Brahma is the reason why everything is Brahman. Until we see that, we cannot see the Ananda as of my own Ananda. I may have an enjoyment of a sweet. I may not see it as my Ananda. I enjoy it as a sweet of the ice cream or sweet of the fruit. This Ananda which I am getting, even though caused by the ice cream or the fruit, is nothing but my own Ananda, because the fruit or the ice cream is nothing but other than myself. It is my own projection. It is myself, Atma, which is projecting the ice cream or the fruit. And I am enjoying it as my own thing. It is my Swabhava that I am projecting the world of waking and the thing. And now I am trying to enjoy it. But when I bring my mind as likes and dislikes, that is why the Eshana, Aniha, and Nireshana, that two words are not present in me. If it is not there in me, then I am not a Brahmajnani or I am not a Brahmana. I am a Ajnani. Therefore, for me, the sweet is the sweet of the ice cream. The sweet of the fruit is the fruit, that's the fruit, not my happiness. That is how this has to be understood. I stop here. We'll continue this because from here, we are going to the next level of abhayam or the fearlessness. Bhaya hetu, what is the reason for bhayam? Why we have to understand this aspect of Brahman is the reason why Brahman is there in the waking world, in the dream world, has to be concretized and established, nishta, pravishtam, or what you call as sthita prajnatvam. Unless you bake that as your reality, you cannot move to the next level of abhayam, where you have the total freedom or fearlessness. That can be understood only if you know this aspect of the deep sleep. Brahman is the deep sleep, Brahman itself becoming the waker, and the waking world, the dream and the dream world. Om Tat Sat. Om Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyavada.
Wow. Hari Om Bindaji. A couple things. The very first maybe 10 or 15 minutes that most people who are here were not present for was, I highly recommend listening. I'm going to listen to that over and over. The way that you laid a foundation by, although esoteric language, somewhat plain language, was very important. And then I was thinking about 15 minutes ago, I didn't think you would go as far as you did at the very end, but you did. To come back to a truer, more rare consideration of deep sleep, where you're saying a lot more than you did, say, a half hour ago. What I was thinking the whole time is, it's one thing to begin to have some realization, but to be able to find language that's clear. Language is so often unclear anyway. To really articulate this, that was an extraordinary experience listening to that. Even if one were to think they comprehended everything you said, I think it would be worth listening to over and over. It's a true difference if one can articulate it. The fact that you could hold everything together and have those words come out of your mouth, I don't know what else I can say. I don't think I've ever been so taken by listening to you speak. So that was quite wonderful. Okay, now that I've expressed all my awe, so let's see. Maybe hand raising's already open. Looks like chat is. Thank you to Prakash Revere who did that. Yeah, please, we'll bring people up. I do want to just say, Bindaji, someone could think in a way that this was review of what we've covered in a way, but please continue to go this deeply. I've never seen anything like the way you approach the Upanishads. Prakash, did you want to say anything before people speak?
No, just thank you to Binduji and Revati and Venkaji is up.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Namaste, Vinodji.
Namaste, Revati.
how to take punya in the year? Because sukrita is swayam krita and it is you said, and if the punya is the karma phala, then why it is just punya? How to relate here? I'm not understanding.
No, the word Sukritam is related to Punya in the Vedic period, or as the Salkarma Phala. When you do good deed, you get Punya. That is what is called Sukritam in Vedic period. So here also, that Punya is not separate from the creation. And the creation itself is nothing but the projection of, or the Brahman itself, who has now projected himself as the Brahman, or the world of objects. In that, in one of the earlier Anuvaka, we said that prani karma vashat. The creation was not with that. The causation also was part of it. So karya karana, that time causation, and cause and effect, yes, also is part of the creation or the nature in which the Brahman is projecting itself. So the punya and the papa is also nothing but Brahman. So that is why sukha dukkhe sami krutva labha labho jaya jayo, all those things, when he's talking about the, sthira pratnya, only a person of that nature can see that as it is nothing but Brahman. There is nothing called punya or papa. It is nothing but the same thing as the world of objects. The cause and effect is also nothing but Brahman.
Okay. Then it is the Vakrita. How to take the punya after that? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brahman is not just Avyakrita alone. That is why Asat, why Sadajayata. Asat by Satajayata. No. From the Asat, Sadjayata means from the Avyakrita, the Vyakrita has come. So the Avyakrita and Vyakrita are not two separate. One is that it is not separated out by names and forms and qualifications. Now you are seeing it as names and forms and qualifications. Just like you don't see the water unless it is, separated out by names and form like river, water, bird, this thing. And if it is in the form of cloud, which is there as water vapor, but you don't see the cloud when it is thin, and still the moisture is there in our. Right now we are all able taking humidity there when you are breathing, but we don't even see the water there.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So this Avyakrita Vyakrita is very easy for us to understand. When we are looking at objects, we feel there is this empty space between us. There is no emptiness. Can you say there is an emptiness anywhere?
No.
Yes. As objects, there may be emptiness. But is there an absolute emptiness between the objects? Between the space, between the planets, between the sun and the moon? Nothing. The space is there. So Vyakrita, Avyakrita is very easy to understand for us. But we are not looking from our own experience point of view. Don't look at as explanations or things of the world outside. The Upanishad is talking about your own experience. How do you come into waking from your own deep sleep? Please analyze it. Please think about it. Go back. Try to go back. Get back to your experiences.
Yes, Bindaji. I tried that in Sushupti there is no punya papa. So I thought why it's punya he mentioned.
Okay. I got it.
Thank you, Bindaji.
Hari Om, Bindaji.
Hari Om.
Yeah. It
Okay.
was a good recap, Manoj. I think this that you use the word bija nidra, and then the whole manifestation is one's own experience. The projection, including I am, that waking up when I comes, then I am body. You just awakening to the whole experience. That is inside out. It is entirely inside out. That reconciles a lot. Vyakruta. I have a question on this pranadi kriya adarshanath. That pranamaya atma. The earlier we went through the annamaya sharira, pranamaya sharira, manonmaya, vijnanamaya, anandamaya. So if you take that into context, and now this whole that karya karanai nivrityamana durshante, that body breathes, all the prana works on that, prana, that whole digestion happens, all that is going on in the body while one is deep asleep. This is from a waker point of view only. This whole discussion was happening, from a waker point of view. That activity is not potentially work like a dream or a waking setup, but this body is functioning like this. But upon waking up, that either dream or waking uses this equipment, then the projected, either a desire get projected or desire get fulfilled, then the ananda are according to that, fructification, experience of joy or sorrow, etc. happen. Now, in context of this Vyakruta, there is a partial functioning here where Annamaya, Pranamaya happened, and when the Manonmaya, Vijnanamaya, they go into Avyakruta. How this can be reconciled from the point of view of this, each of this, what shuts down versus what is functioning? It's a mix of it. There is nothing like, everything goes into Avyakruta, everything comes out simultaneously. It is partial this way. Is this the way to look at it? Or is this the wrong way to look at it?
It's the wrong way to look at it. The right way is that here we are talking about, in spite of the prana and the sense organs, your eyes, ears, skin, touch, taste, smell, everything is present in the deep sleep. In spite of their presence being there in the body, which may be what we are thinking, and we are all assuming that the body is ours, limited by the body. But the limitation is not restricted to the body. In spite of the prana and the sense organs are acting it, we do not know where we are, or whether we are a dot or whether we are infinite. We are neither knowing whether we are minuscule or whether we are the Ananta, which is being told about the Brahman nature. But the pranas are continuing to work there, not because of the pranamaya kosha, manamaya kosha, etc. The pranas, etc., indriyas are continuing to be residing in the body for the purpose of somebody. What is that somebody? Brahman or Atman, not restricted by the physical body at that time, but using the body to have the identity as the waker, continuity of the waker, and the dream experiences. All those things are happening from where? From the same body which has now no identity at all. Yet, for a third person who is looking at your body, the prana, etc., the sense organs, everything is functioning. What is your experience? That is says adarshanath. The word is that adarshanath. The pranadi, everything is darshana from the outside person. From your point of view, they are adarshana. They are not there. And they come up, pranadi, etc. come up when you are in the waker again. So that is where Upanishad is telling, or Bhashyaskara, Shankaracharya is telling us, you shift between the third party point of view and first person point of view. Both ways, you cannot deny that you are Brahman. You are Brahman. Because it is in that body where prana, the kriya is happening when you are looking from the third point of view. But when you are looking from your own experience, their pranadis are not there. You are there, or your individuality is also gone. What was your Swarupa at that time? Your Swarupa was that of Brahman. But it is not possible for us to know as Brahman because Brahman can never know itself. Because that is only one which is there. How can you know when you are only the one which is there, present? But when you are looking from the third party point of view, where did that waker and the dreamer vanish into that body in spite of the fact that prana, sense organs, the blood vessels, the digestion, everything is happening in the body. But where did the waker and the dreamer go from that body? Where are they? They are not there. So you have to consider yourself as what is a deep sleep experience. Then you look from the third party point of view and try to bring a concomitance between these two as to what is your true nature. Then only you can imagine how I am projecting my world of waking and the waking waker, and I am the one which is projecting as a dreamer. The I which is in the waker, when I was in the deep sleep, I am not more I was Brahman, therefore I am Brahmasmi. That will be knowledge which will be coming for the waker. Got it?
Got it, Babaji. This third party, first party, both are required to reconcile this whole thing.
Right.
That provides the complete picture, right, Babaji?
Yes.
Otherwise, there's no Sarvatma Bhava.
No. You have to get into Sarvatma Bhava only when you know that you are the one who is projecting it. But you don't know you are the one who is in the deep sleep. For that you have to shift out as the third party and see yourself. Where did the waker of me vanish? Where did the dreamer of me vanish? Into this same body birth which I think it is mine. Right?
Yep. I think that is nicely said. Tasmat asti tad brahma yadartha karya karana prana nadi jeshta tatrata eva janando lokasya. Yeah, this reconciles, Binduji. I think this covers very well, Binduji. Thank you, Binduji.
Thank you, Venkat. Thank you, Revati. Thank you, Atmisha, for your words in the beginning.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. I'm so glad I could be here with full attention while it was happening. Would other people have questions on what happened today? There may be other questions, but I'd like to stay with what happened today as long as we can, because it's extremely fundamental. I will just say please, Venkat, go ahead, please.
I was trying to tell the shift in the experience itself after this Taittareeya is on. This as you walk on a road or anywhere, you can experience the body walking now. That body awareness multiplied like anything, that grounded in that experience alone without any labeling, none of it. It is sort of liberating in a way, because now that whole functional coverage has happened from Indoji. That sort of takes away a lot of those questions that were there before. And that's it, it's just experience is on, that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. No labeling, none of it.
Thank you, Vinod. Correct, Deep, Srinivas, Ganesh, Gugu, Jai, Shobha, Prasad. Madhir, please come up. You don't have to wait for a Q&A session or a discussion session for your viewpoints. Namaste, Ganesh.
Namaste, Vindoji. Of course, as everybody is saying, it is very, very elating experience of today's class. And when in the deep sleep, I just want this clarification. When prana is active and all the functioning of the senses are going on, and the mind is absolutely absent, and you mentioned something like in whose service all these things are functioning during that time. It means the Chaitanya, as you said. So,
Yes,
does
yes.
it mean that,
Yes, yes.
so that Chaitanya is being served by all the faculties of our entity, isn't it?
All the faculties, all
Of
the
our entity. Yeah.
activities which is happening when the waking is there
Dream is
is
there.
for that,
Yeah.
is for that. Even when it is not being perceived or experienced because of the absence of the mind by the Brahman, even though they are present in the body, it is also, even then it is for that same Brahman only. That is why you will be able to identify that it was present there for me in my deep sleep, so that when I become waker, the same becomes my tools again for experiencing the world, which I am projecting myself. Right?
Yes, yes, yes. That's a fantastic explanation. You explained it through. And about the tasting and the experience of tasting that you gave was fantastic. And it was very nice. Hair split discussion it is to realize that we are all Brahman. Thank you, Vindoji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ganesh. Thank you, Srini.
But one thing I wanted to share, when you are telling these things, we could instantaneously experience those words, but it is so swift and so fast that the entire consciousness is again sucked back to the physicality of the world. And I think only Shravana, Manana and Nididhyasa could save us. Otherwise, it is extremely difficult to hold us in that state of mind, rather in that state of no mind. When you are telling, it appears to be, or it feels, yes, it is 100%. I am that. But the moment within the flickering of our eyes, we are just lost in this again, into this physical world. It's very, very difficult to.
That is why Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, and I said no, it has to be concretized into our, being. That we are not the body mind. It is the body mind is also me, because I am Brahman. Not because I am body mind, I become Brahman. Not this way around. It is the other way around.
Yes. Thank you, Vindoji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ganesh. Namaste, Srini.
Yeah, Namaste, Binduji. One quick question I wanted to ask was the Asat and the Avyakruta that is discussed in this section. I was thinking it reminded me of that one more shloka from Gita, which is Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutani Tasmat Jagrita. So that
Absolutely.
Nisha referred, that is
Absolutely.
correct, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, that's what I wanted to check. Thanks,
Yeah,
Binduji.
I wanted to explain this only when I'm taking the Gita. Then only it will be understood.
Yeah,
Because
sure. Yeah.
if I had mentioned this, those who have not read Gita will not understand that. That's why I didn't take that shloka on here. But when I take the Bhagavad Gita after this, when that shloka comes, I can refer to Taittareeya, and when I tell that, it will be very clear to everyone.
Yeah, it was like a obvious connection. I think I felt when you were explaining this shloka to that shloka.
That's
Yeah.
very good. You were able to connect that. Thank you, Srini.
Thank you,
Atmasya?
Binduji.
Yeah, no, I want to be sure. Srinivas, are you done?
Yeah,
Or you can jump in at
I'm
any
done.
point.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes.
Yeah.
But please jump back in and feel free to stay right here. I was just thinking with what Ganesh said about how it seems like so much you say so much, Binduji, and there can be this sensing into it, directly understanding what you're saying, but then there's so much. With the replays, I'm just sharing my view if it's helpful to anyone. I think there's a tendency in the world now that if we do something like listen to a replay, we turn it on. We may or we may not just be putting full focus on it, and we just listen through. But I can stop that replay at any moment and really take the time to just take in the word or the message that is there in a few of the lines Binduji says, and because otherwise there is just so much, and just really take that in. A few minutes of real reflection on just a few words for me does a lot more than wanting to make sure I get to the end of the recording and heard it all again. So we have a real opportunity with the replay to take it very slowly.
Yeah, my advice to those who are serious about imbibing it is do 1 hour of this as the first thing in the morning. As soon as you wake up, don't rush for your brushing and coffee or tea or something like that. After going for your toilet and all those things, come back, sit on your chair, easy chair, wherever you are this thing. Even before brushing, if you can listen to it the first thing in the morning, 1 hour of your morning, that is all what is required. And you will see that the absorption in the first hour of the morning is the best for anyone. That is the time when our mind was in the state of Brahman. And now we are listening about that Brahman. So it will be very easy for us to slide back to that state and see it. Namaste, Deep.
Namaste, Binduji.
Sat Sri Akal.
Sasrikal. That was very interesting. I was very. So, I mean, I'm just sort of, I'm going to just reflect on all that. But I was just curious about something else. When we say Vyakritam or Avyakritam, does that literally translate to something like that which can be described and that which can't be described? Or I was just wondering also because the word Vyakranam is also very close to Vyakritam. So I was wondering what that relationship is.
Okay, see, the Vyakritam and Vyakaranam are two different words. Vyakritam, Vikriti. Kr means to do, is the verb where it is coming. The suffixes are very different from V for Vikriti Vyakritam is for manifestation. Avyakritam means opposite of manifestation, unmanifest. Vyakaranam means it is the doing of, formation of words, actually speaking. Words, it is more into grammar. So there also it is in a different way, it is vyakritam only. From a verb or a root of a verb, you can create multiple options by adding prefix and suffix, which becomes, the subject, the object, the experience, and the whole set of the world can be created out of one root, which is kr. Now the kr in the grammar itself is having a suffix and a prefix. The thing dukrunya is the way in which that word kr is being defined in the Sanskrit grammar. The do has got a purpose there. The nya, krinya, is that nyakara has got a purpose there. Because of these prefix and suffix in the grammar, the words you can form out of one word kr is close to 200,000 words. You can create 200,000 words out of that one word kr. And we have 2,000 such verbal roots in Sanskrit. So 2,000 multiplied by 2 million is the number of words you have in the possibility of creating in Sanskrit. And no other language has got this variety. And Vikruti, Akruti, and so many things, so many words you can create about it. So your question about Vyakritam and Vyakaranam, the relation is that both the Vyakaranam is about bringing out into formation of languages. Whereas here in the Upanishad aspect, it is manifestation and unmanifestation. Vyakritam, Avyakritam. That's it. Thank you, Deep.
Thank you, Binduji.
So,
We'll close.
thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just
Oh, go ahead, please.
one more, if I can ask, related to that.
Yeah. You take what you need.
What is the difference from the perspective of the one who is, the sense of the Brahman doesn't change whether it is Vyakritam or Avyakritam, right? It's really the same thing. So it's just a convenient means of expression, because
Yes.
the sense that one can get is that this is a created Brahman or something, right?
No.
And then, but the Brahman never changes, right? The
Never
underlying
changes.
consciousness never changes.
That,
But the forms that have manifested, let's say, right? When we say Vyakritam, the forms that have manifested, they are also Brahman in that sense. Is that what they are pointing to?
yes.
Yes,
They are also Brahman only.
because they are manifestations of the same underlying.
And one who finds itaram antaram kurute, atatasya bhayam bhavati, that sense of fear and lack of freedom comes in the same explanation in the Friday class, or Friday, or maybe next Wednesday it can go into that, because when the explanation goes, sometimes it may be in the coming Friday or it can be in the next Wednesday. But in the 7th subsection itself is where it is coming. Even if an iota of separation, if you are bringing in Brahman, when the creation took place, and in fact it very categorically says that, you are the Lord, I am the servant. Even to that extent, if you bring in a differentiation, then atatasya bhayam bhavati. Then you will be afraid of the Lord. But that is different. Anyway, I'll explain those things when it comes to that.
Sure. Thank you, Binduji. I just want to request Artemisia or Prakash, maybe just at the beginning of the room in the chat, you can just put in the exact page number or whatever where we are starting. So that way
Huh.
it becomes easier to locate in the PDF.
We will try to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll need Bindaji's help. We'll do that ahead and try to make it work. So let's end for today.
Yep.
Looks like Artemisia got dropped out.
No, she has come back.
Okay.
Yes, Atmishya, you can go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. Sorry. Yeah, what a display of what a gift it is when something can be very clearly articulated, especially something like this. It gives a whole new meaning to what it must require to really teach, as opposed to simply realize, even though that's not simple, so to speak. So everyone, thank you for the questions. Thank you for coming up and being with us. We'll be here for the class at the usual time on Friday. As I mentioned at the start, over the next couple weeks, there are time changes in many parts of the world. Last time this happened on Clubhouse, it caused errors on when the calendar would say the room started. So no matter what the calendar says, this room will always actually open at 8:30 p.m. IST. If, like myself, your time does change, then your time of when you believe the room starts will change, because India time stays the same. And our first experiment with that will be on Sunday, this coming Sunday. So that room still is 8:30 p.m. IST, and it is now called Open Discussion with Bindaji. So if you look for that slightly changed title, that is the same room. And thank you, Prakash, so much. And I think unless you have anything to add, Prakash, Bindaji, could you just close us out?
So I just wanted to thank everyone for having shown up, and as Bindoji always reminds us, listen to the replay and do the Sravana Manana. Then the Nididhyasana will begin. Thank you again, Bindoji. Over to you to close the session.
Thank you, Atmishya. Thank you, Prakash, Revati, Venkat, Ganesh, Srinivas, and Deep for coming and asking the questions. I encourage others also to come and ask the questions. If you have any questions, please clarify it before. Don't keep it in your mind and go, so that you are not able to get the best out of the replay. And if you are shy to ask in the panel coming up and everything, you can always get in touch with me at my email, which is there in my profile. And I am even ready to give my mobile number if you are in such a nature that you want to discuss, not put it in an email, but at least you contact me first in the email. Then that's where I can give you my number. But my request is that if you ask personally, it will be one-on-one discussion. It will not benefit the community as a whole. But if you come up and ask the question in the room, either here or on Sunday, it will benefit others who have similar questions or slightly different question, or they may not have thought in that direction where your question is coming from. So that will benefit everyone. That's why we prefer the questions to be asked here rather than on a one-on-one basis. But for reasons known to you, if you still want to do it on a one-on-one, I'm open. You can ask me. I'll be only happy to help you all. Thank you all. Have a nice day. See you on Friday, same time. Hari Om. Good night.
Hariom.
Hari Om. Good night.